going. Hello everyone, it's me again, Nick. Welcome to my kitchen. Again, we're cooking at home. Nothing else to do other than play with the kids and cook. As you know, the Heron's closed, and if you want to learn how to cook, I'm doing these little tutorials just to show you some of the stuff that we're doing at the pub. I'm going to break everything down so it's really easy, show you some little tricks if you want to prep in advance, and take it from there. So today I'm going to cook a nice mushroom risotto with Cornish blue cheese and some pine nuts, popular dish that we have on our specials at the Heron. But I'll show you as we're going along. First thing we do, like I said last time, we grab ourselves a drink, because cooking at home is about having a bit of fun as well. And I know it's a chore if you're cooking for your kids and and your partner, but come on, let's make this fun. It's not hard to do. I'll show you this, but first of all, let's have a little tipple. So today's choice of wine is a Pitbull. It's a French wine, absolutely perfect for fish. We do fresh paella at the pub, lots of fish, hake, etc., and pasta and risotto. This is a perfect match for it, so you'll always see this on our wine menu. So ladies, you know what to do, and I know you was watching this week, because I've had lots of comments and some feedback as well. So here we go. So before we start, cheers. And that is good. But not forgetting the boys. Boys, if you want to cook your other half a nice risotto and you don't fancy wine, today I'm having a Brewdog IPA. It's one of my favourite beers as well. And it's just a really nice deep flavour. Not that it goes with risotto, it's the fact that I like drinking it. So cheers, boys. And off we go. So first thing I'm going to do with this, if you have a look at my ingredients down here, and I've got my son Jake on the camera again. So first of all, I've got some wild mushrooms. If you haven't got wild mushrooms, it's really not a problem. You can use button mushrooms, you can use chestnut, whatever you can get at the supermarket. For me, again, because we're a restaurant, wild mushrooms are just a really perfect way to kind of premiumise something. So I've got wild mushrooms, I've got 250 grams of arborio rice, which is really good risotto rice. I've got some cold, diced, unsalted butter. I've got some toasted pine nuts. I've got some chopped garlic. I've got some finely diced shallots, which is really important. Cornish blue cheese. And again, wherever you are in the country, it doesn't have to be Cornish. For us, we use Cornish blue cheese a lot. It won the World Championships of cheese. We sell lots of it, but if you're elsewhere, I'm sure you've got great cheese, but blue cheese just works really well when you've got mushrooms. I've got some nice Parmesan cheese, I've got some chicken stock, I've got some truffle oil, and I've got some Cornish sea salt, and I'll explain it as we're going along. But the first thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to get my induction on. I'm not used to cooking induction, but again, I could use the stove, but I don't want to have my back to you. So that's nice and hot. Really hard to control the temperature on these things. So a little bit of oil, okay, veg oil is fine, and a bit of butter. Now the reason that I put the butter and the oil in together is it just stops the butter from burning. If I just put butter straight in there, it just doesn't work. It goes black, it foams, and then you end up with dark bits all over it. So I'm just going to turn that up, and as you can see, it's just starting to take effect. Let's give it a bit of a roll there. So these mushrooms are great, lots of different varieties, and it's just easier, I think, if you just start to cook these out quickly, and then fold them through the risotto at the end. So nice and quick in there. Doesn't need a lot because the mushrooms are basically a fungus, and it holds lots of water, so they literally take no cooking at all. So in that, I'm just going to add a little bit of chopped garlic, a little bit more butter, just to get some flavour, and at this stage, some Cornish sea salt, nice Cornish sea salt flavours going on in there. And this just helps the seasoning of this as you're going along. So unlike when we made an omelette with season at the end, because of the eggs, this time I'm seasoning as I'm going along, And there's one phrase that I always learn from my chef, my first head chef, and I probably know he's watching, Steve West, if you're out there. He always used to say to me, you can always add, but you can't take away. So after 30 years, that is something that I still take with me, something I still advise. And when we're training our apprentices, say the same thing, just season as you go. If you put too much in, you've got to start again. So as you can see with that, those mushrooms just coated in some lovely butter, a little bit of garlic, and a tiny bit of wine. Again, just to add a bit more flavour in there. Not a lot. Just anyone that knows Amanda, my wife, she loves this wine, so if I use too much, I'll probably get a bit of an ear bashing later. Especially now all the shops are restricted. So there we go, that's all I need to do. So that is 2 minutes of just literally sauteing my mushrooms off. So I've also got my tablet in front of me, so if anyone's asking questions, I'm going to try and answer them as I'm going along, if I can find how to do it. If I can't, I apologise, we're fairly new to this, but I do know some people were cooking along with me this week, and I wanted to kind of interact. So I'll try. At the moment, it's not coming up. So quick wipe out, back on the stove. So this time, a little bit of oil again, and a little bit more butter. And we're going to sweat the shallots off now. So I don't want to cook the shallots on a high temperature, because if I do and they go brown, it doesn't work again. So we just want to almost make them translucent, but cook them gently. So again, in goes the shallots, at 40-50 grams, nice and gently, and we're just going to sweat those off, turn this down a little bit, just a little bit. Now I also know a few people that was cooking along with me this week, was two of my friends, Ebony and Ruby, my friend's daughters were cooking omelettes. And they posted their pictures at the end of it, and they looked amazing. It was so good. So I've got young kids following these simple recipes, and hopefully they'll be able to cook for their mums and dads later. So, and it was good for them because they're vegetarian as well. So well done Ruby, well done Ebony, keep it up. So as you can see there, so my shallots are just sweating nicely. I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. Then I'm going to add a little bit of chopped garlic. So. And again, I've added my garlic later on rather than at the beginning, because if I add garlic with the shallots, what tends to happen is it becomes really bitter and it colours, and I don't want that. So we're just literally getting a little bit of sweatiness going on in there, and as you can see, that's all we're looking for, just a little bit of sweat. This is where we start putting the arborio rice in, so good quality. You can buy it in the supermarket, arborio rice. You don't need to wash it at all. I know some rices you need to wash, get the starch out. I want the starch in this because the starch is really important. So as you can see, I'm just going to coat my rice with the onion and the garlic, just as so. And just while that's doing it, I'm just going to see if I can get on live as well. Just see if I can answer any questions. If I can't, I apologise, but we are trying. So once that's all coated in the... Oh, there we go. My son's got a phone that works better than mine. So who have we got watching? So we've got Emily, I've got Steve Marsh. So anyone that doesn't know Steve Marsh, hello chef, brilliant chef. He's over at the Pickwick, executive chef over in Cornwall, just outside Padstow, and he is really good, so you need to go over there. So thanks for watching, Steve. I know he's a good friend of mine as well. So as you can see, we're just mixing that around. So next stage, what we're going to be doing is we're going to add some white wine. So more white wine, more of Amanda's white wine. So this time about 100 mil. About 100 mil of wine just in there. This is where I can turn the temperature up because I really want that to just reduce down, and then the onion, the garlic is all going to get into the rice, ready for that final flavour. So I love making risotto. So there we go. So once you've started to evaporate the wine in there, this is where the chicken stock comes in. So I did say, I'm going to show you how to make things easy, but I did say I'll be honest as well, of what we do actually in the pub. So in summer we're cooking hundreds and hundreds of meals, and I've just come out of the way of the steam. So it's really difficult to make our own stocks in season. In the winter it's really easy, in the summer it's not so easy. So I work with a supplier, and I've worked with this supplier for about 10 years now, and they're called Essential Cuisine. So, and they supply us like the best ready-made stock mixers that we can get our hands on. And this one's a chicken stock. I mean, if you was to blind test it against the real stock, it's really hard to find out which one would win, because they're both exactly the same. So this is what we do. So don't be scared of using in your kitchen, you know, stock cubes. They do work, but for us, you know, out of summer, out of winter, we would use Essential Cuisine stocks and sauces. I mean, they're absolutely brilliant. So as you can see now, my rice has now started to evaporate, and this is where we start to use your chicken stock. So make sure it's hot. If it's not hot, it just slows everything down. So just as we're going along, we're just going to start cooking that rice out now. So just keep everything away from there. Just start cooking it out nice and slow. So good risotto just takes a little bit of time. Now for me, doing this, it will take about 15 minutes. Now the rice still needs to have a bit of a crunch to it, which we would call al dente. If you do it under, it's just not very nice. But we make this in the restaurant. None of our customers are going to want to wait, you know, half an hour for a risotto. So we make a base. So if you want to do this, in advance, it's really easy to do. So you do exactly the same as what we're doing. Whatever flavour you want to put in your risotto, the actual base doesn't change. So it's your onions, it's your shallots, your garlic, your butter, your rice, your wine and stock. So what we would do is we would take this just so it's almost cooked, so it's almost an al dente, and then we take it straight off the heat and we'll put it in a shallow tray and we'll get it to cool really, really quick. And it's the same way that we make our paella at work as well. We sell lots and lots of paella, but we do it this method because then when we regen the rice, I can just steam the fish and the meat, and we can literally get it out in 10 minutes. But this is the prep. So what you're seeing is not something that you need to do from start to finish. Actually, you can do this, put it in the fridge, and when you come back to it, same principle, dash of wine, some chicken stock or whatever stock that you're using, and then you finish it off as you would at the end. So as you can see, that's just reducing down nicely. So I'm going to see if there's anyone. Can you start again, please? So that's a friend of mine called Graham saying no. You'll have to watch again. So, and anyone that watched the omelette, bearing in mind this is just a 3-egg omelette that we did on Monday. I think we've had about 4,000 people watch the video. So this is nothing but giving you a bit of, not training, but just sharing my knowledge as a chef for like the last 30 years, and kind of my experience of saying, well, actually, you can cook nice food at home. You don't need to go out. However, it is nice to go out, but in these times where we're all in lockdown, let's cook at home, let's make it fun. So, make it fun. So that's bubbling away, really, really nice. Really nice. So let's just check on this. All good. So, a bit more stock in there, reducing it back down. Happy days. So anyone that's not visited the Heron, and I know there's people watching that I went to school with, and thanks for watching. I know we haven't seen each other for a long time. I'm still cooking, as you can see. But we own a restaurant called the Heron Inn. It's a St Austell Brewery tenancy over on the River Tresillian, 2 miles out of Cornwall. Me and my wife own the business, and everything that we cook there is fresh, locally sourced. And I've got an absolutely amazing team, absolutely superb team. we can't wait to get back in. You know, my chefs are messaging saying, you know, they're bored. So instead of just sitting at home doing nothing, I've decided to share this with you. So, but if you ever come to Cornwall, come and visit the Heron Inn. Please, you're all welcome. It's a family pub. If you want to come in and have, you know, freshly landed hake and crab and lobster, you can have that. And if you just want to come in, admire the view, sit and have a great pint of St Austell tribute, or even a bowl of cheesy chips, you're all welcome. You know, you need to come and have a look at what we're doing. It's absolutely great. We're missing it, and it's not until you're in lockdown that you start to appreciate the things around you. For me, it's cooking. I know a lot of you don't like to cook. My kids love it, and they have done over the last couple of weeks. So just make that little bit more of an effort. I've tried to use ingredients that you get from the supermarket, what you might have in the cupboard, wild mushrooms, maybe not, but you can use an alternative. So it's a fantastic day here in Cornwall. You know, we've been sitting in the garden, we've washed the cars today. I've had to go to the shops, I've had to go check on the pub because we're doing a free pub shop at the moment while we can't trade, just to help the locals out. What we are making from that, we are donating a percentage of it to the NHS because that's really important to us and something that we feel really strong about. We do a lot of fundraising as well. So you'll also notice on my page I've put a donation page, and that's about mental health. Now, chefs unfortunately do struggle with mental health, or some people do, and it's quite a difficult thing to talk about. So this charity is quite close because I know people that have gone through that. So there is a donate button on there. It's completely profit free of what we're doing. Hit that button, donate, you know, and for the guys out there that are struggling with mental health, you know, there are people out there that will listen to you. I'm certainly one of them. And for the chefs out there that are struggling with it right now, you know, don't sit and dwell, you know, get yourself in your own kitchen, practice things, you know, just get in there, keep your mind going, because if you don't, it's very hard to go into that, you know, that dark place. So, and if you do feel, you know, kind of bad feeling around mental health, speak to people, you know, give me a call, I don't mind, but honestly, there's people out there that can talk and support. So all the chefs out there, keep your chins up, we'll be over this soon, and we'll be back doing what we love doing. So here we go, so we're still going down there. As you can see, the starch is starting to come out of the rice now, and at the moment, you've seen me not season, and I'm not seasoning at the moment because I know there's plenty of saltiness in my stock. So if I start adding seasoning now, it's just going to be overpowerful. Not only that, when you're using blue cheese, that can be naturally salty as well. So I'm just going to wait. So as you can see, and I'm hoping you're doing the same at home, I'm just going to check. So I've got someone called James Collins, and he's cooking with Dominic, says hi. So hi Dominic, so thank you for joining. And if you're not cooking along with us, this video will be there. Just keep going back to it, but it's great that you're doing it. And if you are doing this, show me your dish at the end of it. Okay, we didn't do that at the weekend, or a very little bit, but I'll show you at the end of it. Obviously you won't be able to taste it, but share with me with what you're doing, you know, because it kind of enlightens me as well, that people are, you know, embracing this. It's nothing more for me than a little bit of boredom. I want to share what I know, and I don't know it all. And any of my friends, when I'm doing my demos, you know, on stage, I'm not a confident chef at all, and I don't pretend to be, but I'm always happy to learn. So here we go. So a bit more stock. It's going to take about 1 litre of stock in all, about 1 litre. And if it needs less, don't add it. If it needs a little bit more, add a little bit more. It doesn't really matter. It depends on how quickly you're cooking this, and it depends on the ingredients that you're using. At this stage, I'm going to have a little taste and see what we're doing. She's bubbling away nicely. It definitely doesn't need any seasoning. For me, at this stage, it does not need seasoning. It's a nice little crunch on the rice. It's not quite there, but we're almost there. Not too far at all. So, we're just going to cook that out for a little bit further. So as you can see now, the mushrooms we've done are just ready to go. Even with that butter in there, it's all about flavour. Get it back in there. You know, I tried to buy some fresh tarragon today. I couldn't get it from the supermarket. You might not have been able to get it from the supermarket. But if I was going to enhance it, I could have cooked those mushrooms in a little bit of brandy, a little bit of tarragon, you know, anything aniseed that goes really well with mushrooms. Brandy has a great relationship with mushrooms. Cheese has a great relationship with mushrooms. So don't be scared to put them together. You know, the ones you've got the knack of making a risotto base, actually adding different things for what you want that risotto to be is really easy. Whether it's butternut squash, whether it's peas, whether it's wild garlic, there is no right or wrong. Get this bit, you know, nailed, everything else comes naturally. So we're almost there on my risotto. I don't know how you're doing. I'm just going to lean over and have a look. So, a few lights coming in on that, which is great. So, we've got a little bit more stock. I'm going to add it in because I think it's going to need it. And it's so different cooking in your own kitchen than it is at work. You know, at work, the kitchen banter is what drives us as chefs. You know, even at my age, and I'm 46 now, you know, I work with quite a young team, but to get you through the day is about having a laugh, having a bad joke. I spend more time with my work family than I do with my own family. So we all get on, we have to get on. So to do this on my own, actually I feel a little bit out of place. Or on Monday I was really nervous. Now I can do a demo in front of hundreds of people and it's great. I don't find it nerve-wracking at all. It's quite interactive, but actually when you're talking to a camera, I find it a little bit different because I haven't got my wingmen next to me. And like I say, you know, the success of the Heron and my restaurant, or mine and Amanda's restaurant, is only successful down to our team. And like I say, I've got a fantastic kitchen team. So Ed, if you're watching, Will, if you're watching, Dan, miss you Dan, and my young apprentice as well, Phoebe, Jack, all of you, Steve, you know, we're missing the whole lot of you. So we'll be back after this really soon, and I can take myself out of my kitchen, back at work, and maybe we'll carry on doing some of this stuff as well. So if we have a look at that, Jake, so that is now starting to evaporate really, really nice. So again, at this stage now, I could take this away, cool it down, and then bring it back to the table when I want to cook it again. So now that's there, what I'm going to do, and I'm going to start adding my mushrooms to these lovely mushrooms, wild mushrooms. Back to this. And some of the juice as well, is just going to add flavour. So we're just cooking that round. Now when you know this is starting to get to where it needs to be, it will start to catch on the bottom. Now you don't want it to stick, not like a paella. You almost want a paella to stick and make a crisp base on the bottom. This I don't want it to. I just want it to keep moving it to the point where I know it's almost cooked but not going to burn. So that is almost there. Jake's just going in. So at this point, just to help the flavour on this, I'm going to add a little bit of truffle oil. Probably something that you don't have in your cupboard. For me, I do. It just brings out the flavour and everything. You need to use it sparingly because it has got a bit of a whiff to it. We've had plenty of jokes with this in the kitchen as well, where we've rubbed this into people's jeans while they're in between their split shifts, so when they go off actually you smell. I don't do that now, but I've been guilty of doing it in the past. But a little bit of truffle oil, only a glug, that's all, doesn't need any more, it will be overpowering. So that's all in, I'm just going to reduce it down now. So hopefully your risotto is looking very, very similar to mine. And again, for here, I could really add some fresh tarragon in there as well. I don't have it, so I'm not going to. So again, just going to reduce it down. So to finish your risotto, there's two things that you need. One of them is cold diced butter, and the other one is a really good Parmesan cheese. So all I'm going to do now, I'm going to add my cheese first, because I absolutely love Parmesan cheese. So as you can see, lots of it. So just grate a load of Parmesan cheese in there. Just start moving it around. I've turned the heat right down on this now, as you can see. So the cheese will start to make it nice and gloopy. Again, at this stage now, I'm going to want to taste it. I want to see what it tastes like. Can I taste those mushrooms? Can I taste the seasoning? Can I taste the chicken stock? Can I taste the shallots, the garlic? And the answer is yes, I can. I definitely don't need any salt in this, but I reckon we could do with some black pepper. So a few cloves of black pepper going through that. Perfect. Absolutely delicious. So nice. You smell that, Jake?
Yeah.
You can. So to finish off this, I've got my Cornish blue cheese, and I'm just gonna put some of that in, and some cold diced butter as well. There we go. We have to drop something. And just as we start mixing that around, the butter is emulsifier, so it will start to emulsify and thicken sauces, and as you can see, it's doing exactly that. You see that? Perfect. Absolutely delicious. So before we would serve this, we'll probably let it stand for a few minutes. I'm conscious of time, so I'm not going to, but what I am going to do is just plate this up so you can see. So I've got one of my lovely bowls that I've taken from the pub today, while we've been up there doing our shopping deliveries for the community. And that's kind of how you want this. You just want it gloopy, almost so it's going to set. And that's a really nice consistency in terms of a risotto. So I've kept back some Cornish blue, and I've also got some toasted pine nuts. And again, you can buy pine nuts in the supermarket. Just lightly toast them in a dry non-stick pan, just get a bit of colour and the oils out of them. And they're brilliant for salads, you know, risottos, pastas. We do have them in our cupboard at home all the time, because we do like them. So we're about ready to serve, and I hope you are. If your rice is not quite cooked, just keep it going. Just keep going a little bit. Different brands of rice might take a little bit longer, but definitely my one is definitely ready. So, and all I'm going to do is just plate this up gently in one of my bowls that we use for our risottos, and also for our hake as well. I'm just going to turn that off. So as you can see, that's what you want to end up with. Now to finish this off, just a couple of bits of your Cornish blue. Let the residual heat from this risotto just take effect. It really doesn't matter. There's no right way or wrong way with this. You know, the texture of the pine nuts just work fantastically well. And not forgetting, of course, more Parmesan cheese, because we love Parmesan cheese, or pecorino, whichever you can get your hands on. And literally in 20 minutes, you know, you can come up with a really good risotto dish. And there's only one way to find out whether it's good, is to give it a taste. This is where I'll burn myself. So beautiful. It's so good. Wow. And there's only one thing left, is to say, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope you've learned something. If there's something that you want to see, you know, on a demonstration, there is no agenda with this. We can do what we want when we want. leave it in the comments, send me a message, and if I can do it, I'll do it. But thanks for watching, stay safe, we'll be out of isolation, listen to what the government say, stay at home, protect the NHS, really important, we'll all get out of this at the end of it, and we'll be back in the kitchen at the Heron. Thanks for watching.